So, what does it take for a civilization to survive for 2.5 millennia? I mean, think about that. While countless empires rose and fell all around it, one idea, one culture just managed to endure. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Persia's resilience.
And that's really the big question for us today, isn't it? It's a staggering amount of time when you stop and think about it. We're going to see that the secret wasn't just about having the biggest army. It was about having an identity so strong it could outlast pretty much anything thrown at it.
So, here's how we're going to break down this epic journey. First, we'll look at the foundation of the world's first true superpower. Then, we'll see what happens when it gets completely conquered. After that, we'll explore its incredible comeback, how it faced the new threat of modern empires, and finally, we'll unpack the real secrets to its enduring legacy. All right, let's get into it. Section 1. The First Great Empire. See, to understand how Persia survived for so long, we've got to go back to the beginning and look at what it built. A blueprint for empire that the world had literally never seen before. So what exactly was Persia? Well, right from the start, it was famous for its immense wealth. But here's the key part, the real secret sauce. It wasn't just rich, it was smart. It had this incredibly sophisticated system of administration. And, to top it off, it was perfectly located right at the crossroads of the ancient world, connecting east and west. Just take a look at this timeline. It really shows you the sheer scale of what we're talking about. We kick off with Cyrus the Great, but then, bam, along comes Alexander the Great. A total game changer. You'd think that would be the end of the story, right? But it wasn't. The Parthians and then the Sasanians brought Persian rule roaring back. We're talking about nearly 1,000 years of dominance before the next big challenge even appears on the horizon. And this brings us to Section 2, which really gets to the core of this whole thing. Conquered, but never defeated. So what happens when your armies are just crushed by invaders like Alexander's Greeks, or way later, the Mongol hordes? How do you possibly come back from that kind of devastation? Well, here's the secret. Persia's greatest weapon was never its army, it was its culture. This slide shows the contrast perfectly. On one side, you've got the invader's method, just total destruction, rule by force. But Persia's response? Cultural absorption. Its identity was so strong, its bureaucracy so good, that it actually ended up civilizing its own conquerors. This quote from a historian just sums it up perfectly. Armies came and went, rulers were swapped out, but the deep structures of Persian society, its way of doing things, its art, its entire identity, they just remained. They simply outlasted the storm. And that brings us to Section 3, because Persia didn't just survive by playing defense, it could fight back. And this is the story of its revival, of how it could once again project incredible power onto the world stage. And honestly, no one embodies this resurgence better than this guy, Nadir Shah. In the 18th century, he wasn't happy with just getting independence back. Oh no, he went on the offensive. They called him the Sword of Persia, and he launched one of the most audacious campaigns in history, an invasion of the unbelievably wealthy Mughal Empire in India. And the result of that invasion? An absolutely unbelievable haul of treasure. The estimate is around 700 million pounds in today's money. That number is just staggering. It proves that even after centuries of turmoil, Persia could once again become that realm of immense wealth it was famous for at the very beginning. But then, of course, a completely new kind of threat showed up. Section 4 looks at what happened when Persia got squeezed from both east and west. This time, it wasn't about invading armies. It was about the slow, creeping pressure of modern empires playing what would become known as the Great Game. So picture this. In the 19th and 20th centuries, Persia is literally caught in the middle. You've got the British Empire in India to the east and the Russian Empire pushing down from the north. And this time, the prize wasn't just land. It was influence and a new kind of black gold, oil. And this is what that pressure actually looked like on the ground. This wasn't a military invasion, it was an economic one. You had the British locking down oil concessions while the Russians were controlling things like banks and roads. Persia was being carved up, not by swords, but by contracts and deals. So after all of that, after surviving everything thrown at it, we come to our final section, an enduring legacy. What then is the secret to this incredible survival story? Here it is, the answer to that question we asked at the very beginning. Persia's resilience wasn't just one thing, it was this powerful combination. An unbroken cultural thread, a genius for administration, that unique ability to absorb its own conquerors. its crucial spot on the map, and, tying it all together, a powerful and persistent national identity that simply refused to be put out. And that leaves us with one final, really important thought. After surviving Alexander the Great, the Mongol hordes, and the great game of global empires, the story isn't over. Which makes you wonder, what is Persia's greatest challenge today?